Pay attention to the woman stepping off the bus on the corner of Delancey and Fourth. She is carrying a tote bag over one shoulder and a paper coffee cup in her other hand. She pauses at the crosswalk, checks her phone, and smiles at something on the screen. Her name is Daria Flemming. She is 26 years old. She works nights at a hospital laundry facility and spends her mornings taking online coursework toward a nursing degree. She is 3 credits away from finishing her first year. The man walking toward her from the opposite corner is named Ezra Nkosi. He is 41 years old. He emigrated from Johannesburg, South Africa, 14 years ago. He lives in a ground floor apartment on Meridian Street, 11 blocks from where Daria is now standing. Within 2 hours, Daria Flemming will disappear inside that apartment. Within 6 weeks, paramedics responding to an unrelated call will find a man unconscious on the kitchen floor. Then, something will move under the bed. Daria Flemming was not the kind of person who disappeared quietly. Her mother, Rosalind Flemming, described her as someone who checked in constantly. Morning texts, midday voice notes, evening calls. She had 3 younger siblings she helped parent. She had a study group that met every Tuesday over video call. She had a supervisor at the hospital, a woman named Carla Dennis, who said Daria had never missed a shift without calling ahead. She was not someone who simply stopped calling. The Tuesday call did not happen. By Wednesday morning, Rosalind Flemming had called Daria's number 47 times. Every call went to voicemail after the first ring. That meant the phone was either off or set to decline. Rosalind filed a missing persons report at 11:14 a.m. The intake officer noted it as a voluntary absence. Daria was an adult. There was no initial reason to treat it as criminal. That assessment was wrong. The last confirmed sighting of Daria Flemming on any camera system was the corner of Delancey and Fourth, 8:22 a.m. on a Thursday in late October. The bus stop footage shows her clearly. Coffee cup in hand, phone in the other. Then she crosses the street. She does not appear on any subsequent camera in the transit network. She does not appear at her workplace. She does not appear at her apartment building, where the lobby camera recorded no entry after 6:47 a.m. that same morning, when she left for what she believed would be an ordinary day. Rosalind Flemming did not sleep that night, or the one after. Investigators assigned to the case were working largely without leads for the first 9 days. Daria's phone had gone dark within 20 minutes of her last confirmed sighting. Cell tower records showed a final ping 2 blocks from Delancey and Fourth at 8:31 a.m. Then nothing. The detective assigned to the case was a man named Bernard Ochoa, 11 years in missing persons, previously homicide. He described the early phase of the investigation as methodical and discouraging. The digital trail ended fast. Daria had no known enemies, no estranged relationships, no history of crisis. She was, by every account, stable, grounded, and purposeful. That kind of person does not vanish without help. Ochoa widened the canvas. He requested footage from every private business camera within a 4-block radius of the last sighting. That footage took days to compile. When his team reviewed it, they found what the transit cameras had missed. At 8:24 a.m., a dark blue Nissan Altima idles at the curb on Dennison Street, 1 block east of Delancey. At 8:26 a.m., Daria Flemming rounds the corner on foot. At 8:27 a.m., the car is gone. So is she. The footage was grainy. The plate was partially obscured by a bent corner of the rear frame, but it was enough. The hunt for the Nissan began on day 11. The vehicle was registered to a woman named Sylvia Park, who reported it stolen 8 months prior. The report had been filed in another county and had not flagged in the initial database search. Park was interviewed and cleared within hours. She had sold the car informally 2 years before the theft report, a cash transaction she hadn't properly documented and had no knowledge of its current whereabouts. The trail did not go cold. It redirected. Through DMV records, insurance filings, and a parking citation issued 6 months earlier on Meridian Street, investigators traced the vehicle's operational history to a residential address. Ground floor, corner unit, The tenant of record was listed as a man named Ezra Nkosi. Bernard Ochoa requested a welfare check through standard channels. He wanted eyes on the property before moving. He wanted to know what they were walking into. What no one knew yet was that Daria Flemming had been inside that apartment for 11 days. Ezra Nkosi had arrived in the United States at the age of 27 on a work visa tied to a commercial cleaning company in northern New Jersey. The company dissolved 3 years later. His immigration status lapsed. He remained. For 14 years, he moved through the margins: informal work, sublet apartments, cash arrangements, no criminal record in the United States, a sealed juvenile record in South Africa that investigators would later work to access through international channels. He was not unknown to the women in his building. 2 had filed informal noise complaints in previous years. 1 had moved specifically to avoid proximity to him. None of that had surfaced in any searchable system. He presented as ordinary. That was the mechanism. On the morning of day 12, a call came into emergency services from a neighbor on Meridian Street. It had nothing to do with Daria Flemming. An elderly man in the unit directly above Nkosi's apartment had been found unresponsive by a building maintenance worker. The call was a medical emergency. Paramedics arrived at 9:04 a.m. The elderly man, 73 years old, had suffered a cardiac event. He was stabilized and transported. He survived, but when the paramedics entered the building, they noticed the door to the ground floor unit was ajar. Standard protocol required them to check. One paramedic, a woman named Dana Ferraro, called out. No response. She pushed the door open further. A man was lying face down on the kitchen floor. Ferraro called for her partner. She knelt and checked for a pulse. The man, later confirmed to be Ezra Nkosi, was unconscious. Evidence at the scene suggested he had suffered a medical episode, possibly a seizure. He was alive but unresponsive. Dana Ferraro began her assessment. She called out again to determine if anyone else was in the apartment. Then something moved under the bed. Ferraro's partner stepped toward the bedroom. The door was partially closed. He pushed it open. The room was dim. A mattress sat low on a frame pushed against the far wall. A length of hardware chain was visible, threaded through a bracket bolted into the wall stud. The bracket had been installed recently. The bolt marks in the drywall were still raw. He knelt. Daria Flemming was alive. She had been there for 12 days. She could not stand without assistance. She was dehydrated. She had injuries consistent with prolonged physical restraint. She was still wearing the clothes she had left home in on that Thursday morning, the same ones captured on the bus stop camera on the corner of Delancey and Fourth. Dana Ferraro later told investigators it was the quietest rescue she had ever been part of. Daria did not speak for a long time. When she finally did, she said only that she had been trying to make noise during the medical call upstairs. Tapping, waiting. She had heard the paramedics arrive. She had not stopped moving until someone heard her. 12 days. She had not stopped. Ezra Nkosi was treated at a regional hospital under police custody. The seizure had been caused by an undiagnosed condition, a fact his defense would later attempt to leverage. He was charged within 48 hours of his hospitalization. The charges included kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, aggravated assault, and additional counts that investigators added as they processed the apartment's contents. The apartment contained materials that changed the nature of the investigation entirely. A prepaid phone with deleted but partially recovered messages, photographs, a handwritten log that investigators described in court filings as a record of prior contacts. Women Nkosi had surveilled, approached, and in some cases, followed. Daria Flemming's name appeared on a single page torn from a spiral notebook, alongside her work schedule and a rough sketch of her bus route. He had been watching her for 3 weeks before the morning on Delancey and Fourth. The log contained 6 other names. 5 of those women were located and interviewed. The 6th woman had been reported missing in a neighboring county 14 months earlier. Her case was reopened. At the time of this writing, it remains under active investigation. Daria Flemming spent 4 days in the hospital. She was discharged into the care of her mother, Rosalind, and her 3 siblings. She did not return to her apartment on Meridian Street's neighboring block. She relocated. She resumed her coursework 11 weeks after her discharge. Ezra Nkosi stood trial the following spring. His defense presented evidence of a difficult childhood, displacement, socioeconomic marginalization, and untreated mental illness. The prosecution acknowledged these factors on the record. Then, they presented the spiral notebook, the prepaid phone, and the custom-installed bracket in the bedroom wall. Premeditation. Meticulous and deliberate. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Nkosi was convicted on all primary counts. He was sentenced to 37 years without the possibility of parole for the first 22. He said nothing when the verdict was read. Following the case, Bernardo Choa's department submitted a formal proposal to the city recommending integration of private business camera networks into the existing missing persons alert protocol. The proposal cited the 11-day gap between Daria's disappearance and the identification of the vehicle, a gap that might have been closed in 48 hours with faster camera access. The proposal was adopted in modified form the following year. Dana Ferraro, the paramedic who first heard movement under the bed, was recognized by the department for her response. She declined the formal commendation ceremony. She later said she was just doing her job. She said it mattered that she called out a second time. Rosalind Flemming testified before the City Council during the review of the missing persons intake protocol. She spoke for 7 minutes. She said her daughter's case had been classified as voluntary absence because Daria was an adult and there was no immediate evidence of harm. She said that classification cost days. She said those days cost her daughter something that could not be measured and could not be returned. The intake classification guidelines were revised the following spring. Daria Flemming completed her first year of nursing coursework 8 months after the trial concluded. She is continuing toward her degree. Her tote bag still has the keychain her youngest sibling gave her, a small plastic star that lights up when you press the center. She carries it every day. That belongs to her. It always has.